Okay, I'd like to call the Amherst County Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Today is January the 6th, 2026. We're going to start with the invocation and pledge allegiance. Ms. Tucker's doing the invocation and Mr. Martin the pledge of allegiance.
Please rise. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for the privilege of gathering here today in a democracy. Thank you, Father, personally for the privilege that I have had to be chairman of this body for the past year. Thank you for the input from the citizens, and thank you so much for the people who serve our county, whether they be our teachers, law enforcement, public safety. We have just got such a beautiful and a wonderful place to live. We're surrounded by love. We preach respect, and I think that everybody that serves here on this Board of Supervisors and the staff wants what's best for Amherst County. So in your name we pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, as you're all aware, today is our reorganization meeting for 2026. We do this every year, our first meeting in January. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to nominate a member to serve as the chairman of the Board of Supervisors for 2026. Do we have any nominations?
Mr. Bryant, I move that we nominate Mr. Tom Martin as the chairman for the upcoming 2026 year.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Martin, the gavel is yours.
Oh, I voted aye, I think. I abstained. How's it? All right, moving forward, first, welcome Mr. Frank Campbell back to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
After a hiatus, several many years. Next thing is we need to have a nomination for the position of vice chair. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Mr. Chris Adams as vice chair.
Okay, is there any others? If not, all those in favor of Mr. Chris Adams being the vice chair for 2026, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Moving on, we need to do our appointment of liaisons. And I believe there was some suggestions. I understand, Mr. Pugh, you would like to come off of the Planning Commission?
Yes, I've served on the planning commission for, I guess, the past 12 years. Just feel like it's time to let a new set of eyes or someone else with some new vigor and blood to sit on that board. And so I would request that I come off that board. And I do have a motion of someone that I would like to put on that board. I would like to nominate Chris Adams to sit on the planning commission as the liaison.
Okay. That's acceptable to you, Mr. Adams?
Yes, sir. I'm not sure about the vigor as Mr. Pugh is referring to, but I will accept.
All right, so going down the list, the Department of Social Services, are you willing to remain on that one?
Yes.
Okay. Emergency Services Council, Mr. Adams?
Yes, sir. I'm still good with that.
All right, and then the joint board committee, school board, that would be you and myself. Liaison to the school board, Ms. Tucker,
Yes, I'd like to continue serving.
as well as the agricultural committee.
Yes, please.
Building committee would be Ms. Tucker and myself, correct?
Yes.
All right, community development block grant management team, Mr. Campbell.
At this time, Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to be able to serve on these that I'm appointed for.
Okay. All right, hearing that, how many times do they meet, Mr. Bryant?
At the moment, that board's not meeting. If we apply for another block grant, we can come back to you, but at the moment, we're not having meetings.
Okay, I have some experience with CDBG. I'd be happy to serve as that.
Okay.
Kristen, you keeping track of all this? All right, the PDC local government, I cannot serve on that council as a conflict of interest with my employment with the city of Lynchburg. Is there anyone else that would be willing to do that?
What does that entail, Mr. Bryant? How often are they meeting?
They meet about 6 times a year, unless there's called meetings. It's usually in the evening, like 5 o'clock or 5:30 on a Thursday.
Okay,
So it's about every 2 months, once every 2 months.
okay. Mr. Chairman, I mean, if nobody else wants to, I don't mind picking up some of the slack with some of these other ones,
Okay.
if need be. So the PDC, I do have some background in that.
Workforce Development Council. What does this entail, Mr. Bryant?
It's Tracy Bluto is part of that. I'm not actually sure how often they meet. I don't think they meet often.
Is that a regional? Or-
It is.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so I should probably stay out of that one.
I can sit on that board.
Thank you, Mr. Pugh. Transportation Planning Organization, this is another conflict for me.
If I will, that board usually meets just before the PDC, so
Okay.
it's usually an hour before the PDC meeting.
So we should couple those two together then?
That meeting's at
Okay,
4 o'clock,
That's fine.
yeah.
I'm okay with that, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Adams. And Parks and Rec, I would like to maintain representation on that, if that's okay with you guys.
Yep.
So is there a motion to adopt appointments as amended?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
All right, motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. All right. Moving on to our meeting schedule. So essentially, we're keeping the meeting schedule the same. First Tuesday at 3, third Tuesday at 7,
Yes, sir.
and other meetings is called.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion to maintain the current meeting schedule?
Motion to maintain.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. And then the rules of procedure. I'm assuming these are the same.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion to adopt the rules of procedure?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. All right. All right, moving on to the approval of the agenda. Board, if it pleases you, we do need to amend our agenda to add one closed session. That would be to close meeting for the limited purpose of discussing a prospective business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry's interest in locating its facilities in the county related to the Dillard site pursuant to Section 2.2, 3711A5 of the Code of Virginia. Is that
That would be
okay with everybody?
That would be 13B.
If you say so, yes.
Yeah, it is 13B.
Okay. 13,
But you wanted to have it first.
we want to do that one
Oh.
first, so that would become 13A, and the Winton property would become 13B.
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
Sure. Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead and make the motion, and we approve the agenda with the amended changes.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Very good. Moving on to citizen comment. Is there anyone signed up? No? Is there anyone here that would like to address the board? Hearing, seeing none, we'll move on to ordinance. First read. This is an ordinance concerning the Planning Commission membership. Mr. Creasy?
Chairman, Board, good to see you all. Mr. Adams, nice to have you on Planning Commission this coming year. This ordinance, the purpose of this ordinance is to increase the total number of voting members on the Planning Commission from 6 to 7 members by creating one additional at-large member. The ordinance before you, it can be somewhat misleading if you just take it from the first sentence. We are increasing the total number, or proposing to increase the total number from 7 to 8. However, one of those positions is the board liaison, and they are not a voting member. So we currently have 6 voting members on the Planning Commission, which is an even number. Staff put together in your packet memberships in the surrounding area. And I would like to note, you see Nelson County has 6 voting members, the appointed board member could vote. They have actually changed their ordinance recently to remove that voting member, so now they are back down to 5. They have 5 voting members on their planning commission. So that said, Appomattox County has 7 voting members, Bedford County has 7, Campbell has 7, Nelson now has 5, and the city of Lynchburg has 7. This would put us more in line with our surrounding community and really with the state in whole. Having an even number can cause some issues. One is calling a quorum to order. By adding this additional member, the number of people needed for a quorum will not change. However, it increases our chances of having a quorum. And in addition to that, when there's a tie vote, we had one tie vote in the previous year and a half that caused a little bit of concern doing Robert's Rule of Order. We didn't really make it anywhere because they kept voting the same way. By adding this an additional member, we would no longer be able to have a tie vote on public land use issues. So that is the drafted ordinance, is to create one additional at-large member. There is a letter from the chair of the Planning Commission supporting this, as well as staff make phone calls to all commissioners prior to bringing this before you, and they're in agreement with the ordinance. Do you have any questions for staff?
Board?
I don't have anything.
Okay, is there a motion to advertise this ordinance for a public hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that to direct staff to advertise ordinance 2026-1 for a public hearing on our January 20th, 2026 meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Tucker. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. All right, next thing on our agenda is the consent agenda. Board, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I abstain from voting on that again
Understood.
because I wasn't here.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Anyone?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of adopting the consent agenda as prepared signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye, and there's one abstention, Mr. Campbell. Thank you. All right, moving on to a special presentation on the Gateway Project, and I believe that's Mr. Castillo. Is he here? Oh, there he is. Come on up.
Thank you, Board, for the invitation here to bring you up to speed as to where things are with the Gateway project. I've provided you handouts. There's a couple slides here with a lot of data. I know from my own experience going to a PowerPoint with lots of data, it's hard to read, so I want to make sure you guys could see the information. So here's the update of the sewer extension project. The purpose of this project, just for those who, just to keep everybody on the same page here, is to correct sewer issues for current authority customers along River Road and to provide public sewer services in an area currently not served but designated to be served under the Madison Heights Master Plan. This project was a partnership between the Board of Supervisors and the Board of Directors for the authority, with the Board of Supervisors providing $1 million of ARPA/CARES grant fund towards the project, and the County Board of Supervisors also backing the Service Authority, where they obtained $2.5 million of short-term funding to move this project forward. There was to be a memo of understanding between the Service Authority and the Board of Supervisors regarding the long-term funding, but we have not had to utilize that at this time, so that memorandum has not been developed, nor has it come before either board. With severe consideration was that this was a development project and should not be placed on the shoulders of existing Service Authority ratepayers. The proposed project was to provide service for all River Road sewer customers, plus there's 6 large tracts in the Gateway community that were to be served. The original option was to construct a sewer pumping station down on River Road, adjacent to the James River. with pump controls actually having to be across the road, up on the hill to prevent them from being in the floodplain. There was concern by me and my staff about the constructability of that project, particularly with all the extensive excavation that would need to be made along and within River Road, the amount of rock that would be occurred at that time. The original cost estimate was 7.75 or 768 was the original cost estimate for that type of project. And we only had $3.5 million of funding. So the authorities team, working with Hurt and Profit, did some value engineering, and we created a revised scope, which provided a sewer pumping station located within what's known as the Morecambe property, and a force main from that pumping station down along the old town Route 210 to the Old Town Sewer Connector Interceptor. Replace all of the River Road grinder pumps with new cores, make sure that those things are operating the way they should be. And the cost estimate was reduced from 7.7 to 3.7. This slide shows the project area as originally determined, with these large colored parcels being part of the Gateway development area. We've got along River Road. It was to be gravity, I keep doing that. Apologize for my finger there. It was to be gravity sewer coming down to the central location here, and that sewage would then be pumped along River Road to the authority's infrastructure. What was developed, what was recommended and moving forward with is a pumping station at this location where these three parcels could be served by gravity. These two parcels would have a pump station at this location that would pump over to the Morecambe property. And then this property here would have its own pumping station and daisy chain to the new services. And how the project, this revised scope met the project goals, it was a cost-effective solution for the River Road sewer customer upgrade, $37,000 versus lots of money. The Marymore subdivision, which surrounds a portion of this project area, the authority looked at those 65 homes. The average age of those septic systems is 40 years, with a range of 4 years to 65 years. Most of that project area can be served by gravity. There's a few homes at the end of Mormon Drive and River Ridge Road that we would need to put a sewer collection system, a low-pressure sewer collection system in for to serve them, and also Scotts Mill Road. A lot of communities historically have avoided low-pressure sewer collection systems. Personally, I've had extensive experience with them, and it becomes a cost determination, whether with higher capital versus life cycle costs. So the other large properties, as I showed you, can be sewered in this manner. The Vota property would have a pump station that could also serve the McBride property. The Suarez property would have its own pump station, and then, as I said, the daisy chain. And the significant point to me with this project is that the cost for those areas would be actually borne by the developers of those properties, because the authority / with the backing of the county would be bringing sanitary sewer into the region. The project, as it was determined, was divided into three manageable parts, one being the pump station, second being a force main from that pump station up to Route 163. Then the third part would be a force main from Route 63 along Route 210 to the authority's infrastructure on Main Street, the interceptor there. That project is currently under construction at a cost of $351,000 and is scheduled to be completed here this month. If you drive by, you'll actually see construction going on where they're doing the road bore under 163. This slide actually shows how that project would be, is laid out. This slide has a lot of that data that have printed off for you. The column called cost in the middle there, that was the redesigned value engineering costs. It comes down to a total of $3,696,000. There's a revised cost column. As this project has moved along, there are several items within our budget that are currently being undertaken under the existing contract at $350,000, $51,000, which are resulting in some significant cost savings. You'll see where pavement for the trench only is $206,000. We're not having to do that as we are doing a road bore. So that's a significant savings. Traffic control, I've taken that out of the cost estimate because that's being paid for under the existing contract, which is covered under the $550,000 for the force main. So we're able to knock a number of items off here. Another significant item where I'm able to save money is we're going to be the authority's looking at repurposing a sewer pumping station from another community in the country. There are communities all around our country where there's a lot of growth, and they've had sewer pumping stations in, some of them not just a couple of years, and the growth has outpaced those pumping stations' capacity. So the communities are replacing them. You have a very usable sewer pumping stations, and they can be obtained for pennies on the dollar. I've done this in other communities. It's been very successful. So with all that said, I'm able to bring the project cost, and also because of the way this project has been rolling, and we've been receiving very good bids and all of that, I removed the 50% contingency. I thought that was totally unnecessary. So I brought the costs are down to $1,899,000, $1.9 million, down from the 365, down from the 77. In the meantime, the county with the authority, we've partnered together. Leslie is a fantastic wordsmith and makes what I say sound like we know what we're talking about. In the community, we received a SCID grant of $500,000 to apply to this. So taking the original project funding of $2.5 million finance, $1 million ARPA funds, coming up at $3.5 million, we were still short almost $200,000. And when I presented this to my board at that time, I felt like we would be able to have cost savings and be able to eliminate that overage that way. But looking at adding the $500,000 grant to the $1 million grant, it puts us at $400,000 of long-term funding, should we even need that. So that's what we're able to continue reducing the burden to the taxpayers for this project. I know I was asked to bring forward the short-term bond anticipation note that the authority issued with backing of the supervisors. That was a $2.5 million bond issue. It was obtained May of '23 with a payout date of 3/26 at 3.98%. The bond issuance cost was approximately $50,000. Below that, actually, I put together a table so I could understand where we were with all of our debt service for the authority. Shows the principal payments, the interest payments, and when they were due, and the total cost of all of that. So with the interest and principal that is due at the end of February 1st of March, the total cost is $2,779,152.78. Good news is the principal of 2.451 was invested within the SNAP program, which is a state non-arbitrage program. They manage the funds so that you're the projects are earning interest. Those projects, the current interest fund as of, at the end of November, was at $337,000. So when you add that to the 2451, we're pretty close to having it all taken care of that way. There will be an arbitrage because of when the project started in '23, interest rates were being paid were well over 5%. We're now under 4, which is where we are currently on our interest rate of the project, of the finance. And what the arbitrage is to being a tax-exempt bond is anything that you earn over what you're entitled to cover the debt, the interest payment has to be returned to the federal government as part of the tax laws. So we're working with, we'll be working with a consultant to make sure that we provide the right amount of funds within our interest fund to pay that debt service. The authority just completed that with the 2020 bond issue, where we were able to set aside around $60,000. We paid $47,000. We received additional $12,000 that was earned and returned to the authority ratepayers. But here's the project as it moves along. You can't really see it because the pipe's underground. Along Route 210, there's a 6-inch force main has been installed. You can see it coming out of the ground. And this is at the 163 interchange. And it's currently, the contractor is boring underneath the road. There's a receiving pit and the equipment along with that. So that's where this project currently stands.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Several of us, well, actually all of us, except you, Ms. Tucker, because Mr. Adams, you were in the audience, but heard this presentation earlier today. Board, is there any questions concerning this? Comments?
Mr. Chair, again, as far as why this made it on the board's agenda, I'd asked Mr. Bryant to reach out to Mr. Costello to make sure we got it on the agenda for today. And this was secondary to me sitting in on the Service Authority meeting in December, which you obviously referenced in the Service Authority meeting with the update about the Morcom project, which, in my opinion, no disrespect to Mr. Morcom, it wasn't much of an update for me. And we're 3 years into this, and as Mr. Martin stated in the Service Authority meeting, we haven't seen a shovel of dirt moved at this point in time. My biggest, and I think also for the public that's watching this online, I want to make sure, as far as for transparency, for the fiscal aspect of this, is a point of reference is, and make sure I'm correct, that when this debt was structured, or when this $2.5 million was structured or borrowed, the understanding is the county will assume the debt on this loan until it could self-support itself with connection fees. Am I correct by that?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, as a side note, I appreciate you being here and giving the presentation twice. The first time I absorbed it, and it helped me better to prepare for now, which will be hopefully less painful. I'm glad that the cost of the project, with what you're showing, you've brought it down to a proposed 1.9.
That's correct.
That we will not have to touch the 2.5 to be able to complete phases 1, 2, and 3. Am I understanding that correct?
We'll need to find, if indeed the project comes in at that 1.9 cost, we will need to find funding for $400,000 instead of the $2.5 million long-term funding.
Okay. All right. The other thing that I appreciate Mr. Martin bringing up in the Service Authority meeting that I want everybody else to understand is the understanding that we will proceed no further on 1 and 2 until we have a firm timeline with something that's tangible in our hands.
Right.
From Mr. Morcom to move further down 163 or north on 163.
To come up to 163, that's correct.
Correct. So here's where the thorn is in my side about this, is if we have to tap into that $2.5 million. And I appreciate your comments earlier on about this project was premature, because I have to agree with you. I think there was a lot of prematurity with this project because clearly nobody was prepared to be able to move forward with this. My biggest concern is that if we have to tap into that $2.5 million that this board or the previous board agreed on, which I'm a part of now, and I'm accepting that responsibility. However, I do not believe, and it is my opinion, and I'm not sure it's the opinions of the other board members, that the county taxpayers that are not on the service authority infrastructure should be having to burden the debt of this project. For me, or anybody else that lives in an area where you're on a well and a sewer, I don't feel like it's my responsibility to pay for this. The service authority, from what I've understood in years past, it was supposed to be a self-serving authority, right?
Correct.
So, and under this situation, I don't see it that way, right? I may have understood why the 2.5 would have been barred under the county, but again, that's water under the bridge. I would like to see, and again, referring back to what was discussed in the service authority meeting that Mr. Martin brought up and Mr. Pugh, I think, as well. I think we need to either fish or cut bait, right? Because I think you made it, the only thing we may agree to disagree on here is that when you said in the earlier meeting that it hasn't cost us anything so far as the county taxpayers. That's not exactly correct, because we've paid the interest payments on this for, and I'm not sure if we've made the third one yet, but I know we've budgeted in the FY26 budget for another $99,500. But I know we've paid two, right?
You've paid, through the end of fiscal year '25, you paid $179,000
Okay.
and change.
With another interest payment, or the debt has to be restructured as of June the 30th, is that correct?
March 1st.
Oh, March the 1st, okay. But we've got to make another interest payment as
Correct.
well, is that correct?
Another
So-
interest payment was made in September of $49,750.
Okay. So we can get through the numbers, but the county
The
has.
county has paid that
Yeah.
debt service. Now, I'm going to ask, as part of the financial transparency and all of that, the authority is paying that, and then the county transfers those funds to the authority, because the bond is issued in
Okay.
the county. I'm sorry, in the authority's name. So that's how I believe it's been working. We're working through that process right now.
Okay.
Make sure that's all
Okay.
kosher.
So the service authority is,
The service authority is the bond holder.
I understand that, but as far as the interest payments go, you guys are bearing
We
that?
bear it, and then we are reimbursed by the county.
Okay, so we are paying.
You are paying. I
Okay.
just want
All right.
to keep it all,
Yeah, we're just moving shells around.
well, it is important.
I understand.
From
Yes,
both
I understand what you're
agencies'
saying.
perspective.
But, and as far as I'm concerned, we're in an awkward position as far as the board of supervisors go, because really, as far as what you guys are doing, the service authority, we have really no say-so over that. The only thing we really haven't say-so over right now is $2.5 million. Plus, as I asked you questions early on, trying to get myself educated and prepared, the 7.5 that we still got setting aside,
The authority has, yes. Mhm.
yeah, and we have no connection to that, right? The county. You guys are bearing the debt on
Yes,
that,
the
right?
authority has been paying that.
Okay.
Correct.
So, in my opinion, for this board of supervisors, based on the information you've provided today, I think we need to make some decisions pretty quickly on that $2.5 million. Because I'm not gonna run my household like this, right? I'm not gonna continue to be paying debt on money that we're not gonna use. If we're not gonna use it, from what RT explained earlier, we wouldn't be penalized by turning that money back in.
That's correct.
Or, again, as Mr. Martin referenced earlier, we know we have some infrastructure needs from aging systems, correct?
Correct.
And whether we need to redirect that money toward aging infrastructures based on what we know or based on what we may not know. as far as needs may be. But again, if that's the case, in my opinion, the Service Authority needs to take on that debt, not this Board of Supervisors.
I understand where you're coming from, and as the early slide showed, this was to be a development project.
I understand that.
And that's where the authority in its role is to support the county with its goals. And that's what that's what we have been doing.
Sure.
And we've been working hard to minimize impacts to the county taxpayers, as well as not have this project, a development project, be on the ratepayers' shoulders as well. It's a great balancing act, what we're trying to do.
What we're trying to do is, yeah, it should be a great balancing act. I'm not sure how well we're balancing it at this point in time. I think we may be sustaining at this moment, but again, I think we need to make some decisions on this $2.5 million. I don't know what my fellow board members believe in, but that's my concern, that's my feelings. The Morecambe project, I want to be optimistic. However, after 3 years and we have nothing, and I think you said in the earlier meeting, you've gotten some verbiage that you may have a site plan maybe by the end or time.
That's
I don't know,
right.
site plan, what have we been told?
What I was told is the final site plan concept is to be completed by the end of this month.
Okay. So that's where I'm at. That's how I feel about it. I don't know if any of the other board members have any other comments, but I do not believe that we need to continue that the county taxpayers holistically need to continue to bear the burden of this $2.5 million of debt. Especially based on the information we have today, that we may be able to do what you want to do with phase 1, 2, and 3 with a little bit of a shortfall. But I feel like we can figure some way of making up that stopgap.
Correct. That is my goal on this project.
Yes, sir, and I understand that. And I appreciate your due diligence with this and trying to get this more,
It's been a real, there's a real strong team working on behalf of the
don't
taxpayers
disagree.
and the ratepayers. on
Yeah, I
this.
don't disagree, but that's been my concern, and that's what I wanted to address, especially based on the December meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Tucker?
Yeah, I want to thank you and your staff for the savings that you've been able to figure out here. Thank you. But Mr. Adams, you said something, I'm thinking hard about it. So we want this development down there, and could possibly be retail, it could possibly be something for senior citizens to age in the county here. There's development. And so I'm not sure how I feel about your statement that it's just the ratepayers down there responsibility to pay for it and not the rest of the county. In my mind, we are one county. And we want to see development, and we want to see our tax revenue come into the county. So I'm not sure that I can sit back and say, I want those things, but I want the southern end of the county to pay for it. Just a comment.
And if we can, Mr. Chairman, if we can have this discussion, I respect, and I've thought about that, right? I've thought about that approach. But now, based on the information we have now, the $2.5 million that the county has borrowed may not even be needed to be able to support that project, whether it happens or it doesn't happen, right? Because at this point in time, again, the previous board set the language up to where, again, once there was enough connection fees to support that, it was to be transitioned over to the Service Authority to start with, right? So the people that live on that system or operate off of that system was going to be paying for it. That was the initial intention, from what I understand.
I support what you're saying about if we don't need that $2.5 million, let's give it back.
Yeah.
And get it off our books.
Yeah.
I support that completely.
Because as I'm not sure who provided the financial report to us the last time we talked about our debt service and the things that we need as far as CIP projects and other, super priorities that we need, and we're struggling with trying to figure out how we're going to finance those, right? So I don't want to be looking at debt that's not needed. So
With you there.
that's it, Mr. Chair.
Board? Ms. Campbell, Ms. Pugh. All right, so, Mr. Costello, thank you. So, kind of to both of you, when we went into this, I think we went into it as supporting an economic development project, right? Timing is everything, and I think the county went forward with its piece, and the developer, for whatever reason, I'm sure it was, they didn't intend to, has not gone forward with theirs, right? And when we decided to move forward, because we have $1 million of ARPA funds out there that have to be spent by November, is that correct? And now you have a $400,000 grant that is for, $500,000 grant that's for this project that's
That's
going
correct.
to have to be spent at some point.
Some point.
So we also provided the direction that we would only proceed with Phase 3, which is the project, the force main on, is that 210,
That's correct.
right? I was actually unaware that that went under the road also, but so be it. And that's where we were going to spend the ARPA funds.
And we are.
Right. I'm in agreement with Mr. Adams, and I think I'm hearing Ms. Tucker, that we need to decide what we're going to do by March with this $2.5 million, because I see these numbers here, and in a way, when you talk about the arbitrage and the interest payments and all this, that's all fine and dandy, but when it's all said and done, the county's going to have paid about $300,000, right, in payments? If we make a third payment.
That part's true, and close to $300,000 will be coming back.
So that 300,000 will come back to us.
Majority of it will.
Okay, that's good news, right? But,
That's shown in that interest fund.
I was gonna say Mr. Chairman, but unfortunately, that's me. I think that, Mr. Bryant and Ms. Morgan, we need to decide what we're gonna do in February, if we're gonna turn the money back or what. And if Mr. Morgan, because we said we were not spending any more money
Correct.
on that project until he had building permits.
Correct.
Correct.
That's the instructions this.
And there's
you
no
You guys as a
way-
board of directors gave me, yes.
There's no way that he's gonna have building permits by March. It'd be very doubtful to me if he had them by November, right? So, I think we should decide about what we're gonna do with that funding. It was applied for and received for a sewer infrastructure project, so I don't think we can turn around and use it to whatever. So it would make more sense to me that we turn that money back. And if he ever gets to the point where, you know, he needs to come back to us and we have to borrow the money and we're still supporting it as an economic development project, so be it, we discuss at that point. But just to keep throwing money at this for no reason, I can't support that anymore. And what you need to figure out is with that $1 million of ARPA funding and your $500,000 grant, right? If he doesn't get his building permits by November, what you gonna do with that money,
Correct.
right? So I think you need to be having some very serious conversations with Mr. Morcom.
And I have been.
Tell me if you feel differently, board, but
No, I agree,
I'm with
because you brought up something, Mr. Chairman, here at the end, because that's one thing we hadn't touched on, is the directives that y'all gave Mr. Costello in the Service Authority meeting, that no other monies are to be expended until actions have been taken on behalf of Mr. Morcom. Well, we're under the gun for that, the Service Authority is under the gun for the timeline for those ARPA funds. So where is that time threshold, right? You know, I know they've asked you, and we've asked you in the past before, as far as what do you have as shovel-ready projects that if we need to put those funds in something else that will benefit the current users, are you ready to pull a trigger on something like that?
I have a number of projects. That's one reason we did the infrastructure master planning, was to get things together so we could have lists and figure out what was the top priorities.
But, okay, that's a good point, Mr. Adams, but when we went into this, it was under the premise of economic development.
Yes.
I'm not sure it would be fair for the county to commit to borrowing the money to maintain the infrastructure,
No.
to borrow the money to do infrastructure projects that aren't for economic development.
I
I'm not saying
agree.
we wouldn't, but I'm saying there should be some serious discussion about that.
No, my,
Mr. Chairman, if I may intercede a little bit, there's two grant programs involved here. There's the ARPA grant program of $1 million that has to be spent by, or the invoices have to be turned in by the end of November of '26, of which we've probably around 450, somewhere in that neighborhood, of what has been spent to date. Then there is the additional $500,000 for the Gateway Sewer Extension. The $2.5 million, we're not gonna be spending that between now and March. That's obvious. As part of getting, in our previous meeting, getting to someone in to make sure I can do the right things financially, my recommendation to the Board of Directors for the authority will be to defease the project, and what point in time we need that additional 400, if we do need it, then we would find long-term funding for that. And whether it's a development project at that time or what, that's something yet to be determined.
So,
That's kind of where this project sits right
or
now.
is there consensus to have Mr. Bryant come back or Finance Director come back and talk to us in first meeting in February about turning the bond in?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm going to
you're not
recommend,
Mr. Bryant, but I mean, right now, we're holding the bond, right?
the authority is the bondholder.
You're the bondholder,
Yes, sir.
but we're backing the bond.
You are the backer of the bond.
Kind of like if my kid went and bought a car.
we're the
Thank you,
co-signer.
thank you, Dad.
Okay.
But yes,
Well,
you're
we
the
no
you
longer
are the
want to back
cosigner.
it. I come February, I believe, so.
I understand that.
All right. Is that clear as mud?
Very clear, from my perspective.
Good.
All right. Anything else on that?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your help.
All right, moving forward with the county attorney's report, Mr. Popovich.
County Administrator.
Hold on, Parks and Rec.
Man, I want to
Your
get out of here. Oh, wait, here we go. All right. County administrators report. My
Yes.
apologies. Board and commissions, parks and recreation vacancy.
Yes, sir. Just, this is to inform you that John Mann, who is on the Parks and Recreation Board, his term does expire in 2028, but he's no longer able to serve on this committee. So we do have an opening. There's no action that's needed from you at this point. We're just making you aware that there's an opening, and if there's anybody that you're aware of, we'll continue to advertise it on our end and bring to you any applicants. But if you know of anyone, this is a board that needs, has an opening.
And the parks and recreation director is aware of this?
Yes.
Okay.
Was this an open seat or is it an at-large or what district?
District 5.
Mr. Chairman, I have someone.
You have someone?
I have someone.
All right. Well, I'd encourage you to ask them to apply.
Showing value already, Mr. Campbell.
They actually reached out to me today.
Good.
Cool, that's awesome.
That's all I have, sir.
All right, now, okay, may we move on to the county attorney's report. Mr. Popovich.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The board had asked me to provide it with some guidance related to Special Exception 2024-154. If you will recall, that is a special exception that was granted in May of 2024 for property located at 219 Phyllis Lee Drive to allow for a photography venue and special events for weddings and other similar uses on the property. Immediately after the approval of that special exception, neighboring property owners filed suit against the board, alleging that the decision was arbitrary and capricious, to which the county responded with defensive pleadings, arguing that the decision was fairly debatable. That matter has since been non-suited. However, the neighboring property owners who were the plaintiffs in that matter have continued to come back to the Board of Supervisors requesting the board take action to revoke that special exception. In considering this revocation request, I think there are two competing interests here. One would be the revocation authority that the county has under the current ordinance. And then would be the counter argument from the current property owners who have use of that special exception, in that they would probably claim they now have a vested right in using the property under those special exception conditions. To give you some kind of better understanding, the revocation procedures that are set out in the county ordinance requires that the board consider a revocation if there is a change in conditions affecting the public health, safety, and welfare since the adoption of the exception, or 2, repeated violations of the zoning ordinance or any conditions, or 3, fraudulent, false, or misleading information is provided. In evaluating the current status of the property use, I have been advised that there indeed was violation at the very beginning of immediately following that May 2024 special exception being granted, in which the Fishers began holding wedding events and photography events prior to obtaining approval for their entrance from the Virginia Department of Transportation. That was a timing issue. VDOT has since approved their entrance, so that is no longer a concern. Additionally, there have been complaints of loud music and allegations made that this was misleading, that the Fishers misled the board because Ms. Fisher stood at the podium and indicated that she would only use a very small amplifier. The issue with that is, as I see it, at least from a legal perspective, is her promise to do that never actually made it into the conditions that were approved by the Board of Supervisors. So what was said, while it may have sounded like a promise, really means not much unless it was included as a condition of the special use. So having said all of that, I want to turn to the opposing view of the Fishers claiming a possible vested right. Under Section 15.22307 of the code, localities cannot impair a property owner's vested right to use their property if the landowner obtains or is the beneficiary of a significant affirmative governmental act which remains in effect, relies in good faith on that act, and incurs extensive obligations or substantial expense in diligent pursuit of the project. Now, under that code section, a significant affirmative governmental act is specifically defined as the granting of a special exception. So clearly, there has been an affirmative governmental act. And I believe that there is a good argument that can be made from the Fishers' perspective that they have relied in good faith on that special exception and have expended monies to further that end. So it's my recommendation to you at this point that revocation not be considered, simply because I believe that the Fishers have a pretty good legal argument for a vested right. And it really would not behoove the county to try and revoke and then have them bring us into court, have the court say they have a vested right, and they go back to using the property as under the special use conditions as provided.
Thank you, Mr. Popovich. Board, any thoughts or discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'll open with some comments. Obviously, Mr. Wade and I were the ones that initiated this. I think it was a couple months ago. I don't know what the exact meeting date was to to ask Mr. Bryant to get with Mr. Popovich to initiate the process to review this, which, Mr. Popovich, I appreciate your due diligence in reviewing this information. And I think you've provided some worthwhile information that helps provide some clarity. Personally, for me, in my 2 cents on the board, this has probably been one of the most difficult situations that I've had to deal with, and I think some of the other board members that's been here may agree with me. I've tried to be very objective. I've tried to be extremely objective for both sides. I try to very much pay attention to my my constituency, no matter which side they're on. And I learned from my grandfather many years ago, who was a longtime board member. He always told me, he said, "Son, you'll never make everybody happy, and if you do, you're doing something wrong." And no matter what we do up here, we're never going to make everybody happy. It's a tough decision. I have answered phone calls, Facebook messengers, text messages, emails, more than, and I value each one of them. And I listen, and I've paid very close attention. And I will continue to do so. But at this point, based on the information provided by Mr. Popovich, I'm not personally prepared to, or professionally prepared to move any further with this. Not saying that we won't continue to monitor the situation, but I'm gonna, I don't know if the correct terminology is to continue to take it under advisement. If that's the correct terminology, Mr. Popovich, please help me, because obviously you're the lawyer and I'm not. But that's, for me, I feel like just my comments, and no matter which side it's on, somebody's gonna be unhappy with what they've heard today, and I respect that. And again, I'm empathetic to the situation. Tremendously empathetic to the situation. But anyway, that's what all I have, Mr. Chair.
Board members? I'm just going to ask, look, is there anyone interested in moving forward with revoking that permit at this time after hearing Mr. Popovich?
Not me, Mr. Chairman.
I'm not at this time.
Mr. Pugh?
From all the legal advice we have received, and a lot of this is beyond my comprehension, but if the items aren't specifically written into the special exception, then whatever someone says or promises isn't legitimate as far as rule of law. You know, I voted against this, not to toot my own horn, but I knew that it would end up being a situation, and regardless, even if we had denied it, maybe we would have been in a situation where someone was unhappy. I hate that it's come to this. You know, I don't think the community will probably be the same. Maybe cooler heads can prevail. People can come to an understanding and somehow rectify somewhat of the situation. I don't know, but it's really a disappointing day as far as what I would like to see the outcome of this to be. And I feel for all the neighbors and people that are in that community that have had to deal with this and come in front of us, and it's not a good resolution to a situation that possibly couldn't have happened in the first place. But that's then, and this is now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Popovich. All right, moving forward to citizen comment. Is there anyone here that would like to address the board? Hearing or seeing none, we'll move on to matters from members of the board. Ms. Tucker?
I have one thing. The first meeting in February, I will be absent.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pugh?
I have nothing.
Mr. Adams?
The only thing I have, Mr. Chair, over the weekend, I was contacted by a constituent as her parents. I actually graduated with this young lady, but her parents live up Burley's Hollow Road. And that evening, FedEx dropped off, I think, a total of 7 to 8 packages, I think none of which were theirs, on their doorstep. One of them, coincidentally, happened to be Miss Tucker's. So I said, when the young lady I know reached out to me and asked me if I knew any of these, and I said, unfortunately, it's one of them on there I do know, and
I mean, unfortunately, you know.
Unfortunately.
and I said, I'll make contact with her. However, I'm not sure what responsibility as far as commerce goes that the county has in situations like this. But again, the Amherst County Community Chat thing, I kind of filter through that. But if you watch that and see the amount of packages that are now delivered to wrong addresses, it's just tremendous. And I don't think it's fair to our citizens that pay money for items and never know where it's going to come up. Obviously, there are avenues to be able to correct that. But 8 packages that, again, I'm just playing this out, that the guy just said, screw it, I am tired, and this is where it's going to end up at. Because that's, in all accounts, that's the way it appeared. So I'm not sure if it's something, Mr. Bryant, we can get you to look into or contact FedEx. But, I think commerce habits such as this that affects our neighbors or affects our citizens poorly, because there was addresses that scattered from Poorhouse Farm Road to Cherry Hill Road to Lowesville Road to Indian Creek, you name
Down
it.
to Coolwell.
Yeah, all the way to Coolwell. So there was no rhyme or reason. This guy was done. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Campbell?
I have none.
I have none. All right, moving forward, we need a motion to go into closed session.
I move that the board go into closed session for the limited purpose of consultation with legal counsel retained by the board regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel related to the Winton property pursuant to section 2.2-3711A8 of the Code of Virginia. And I move the board enter to a closed session for the limited purpose of discussing a prospective business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry's interest in locating its facilities in the county related to the Dillard site pursuant to section 2.2-3711A5 of the Code of Virginia.
Thank you, Mr. Pugh. And just for clarification, the way this was on our agenda, we were doing the Dillard site first. Is that acceptable to you?
Yes.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. We are in closed session.
Playing solitary?
No, let's roll them.
Hey, I can make it happen, Pop. BG Cop.
All right.
All right, board, is there a motion to come out of closed session?
So move.
I need to read that.
Yeah,
I move that the Board of Supervisors certify by recorded vote that to the best of each board member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion authorizing the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed session.
This needs to be a certified vote. Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Pugh?
Aye.
Tucker?
Aye.
And I vote aye. We're out of closed session, so now we can adjourn, correct? Is there a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
All right, motion on the floor, Mr. Adams, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I vote aye, we are adjourned.
Good job, Mr. Martin.
Oh, thank you.
Oops, excuse me.